We have seen some incredible survival games release over the past couple of years, from the massive Viking world of Valheim to the recent popularity of the phenomenal Power World. There are certainly some huge games to get lost in. Xbox Game Pass is providing all of us gamers with a huge amount of survival games, and today we will narrow down this expansive list for you. Today we will cover the 15 best survival games on Xbox Game Pass in 2024. My name is Fletcher, this is Xbox Nation. Subscribe for more Xbox content, and let's dive right in. Up first, we have a survival game that has been ongoing for years at this point, and is one of the most notable names, especially within this genre. Ark Survival Evolved is the best depiction of being left on an island and having to deal with a vast amount of ferocious dinosaurs. When on the island, you must hunt, harvest resources, craft items, grow crops, research technologies, and build shelters to withstand the elements. In doing so, you will also have to use your cunning and resources to kill or tame and breed the Leviathan dinosaurs and other primeval creatures roaming the land. With Ark 2 just around the corner, you need to give this first entry a go, especially as this new entry is being touted to improve the gameplay in every single aspect. One game that was recently added to Game Pass within the last 6 months is the Great War Tales. Now, this is a slightly different take on the survival genre and is also a player-driven RPG with a muted aesthetic. It also lacks a typical central storyline and isn't defined by any single feature. It's a game that rebuffs your initial advantages with a grunt as you try to survive long enough to penetrate through that tough exterior. War Tales does put you in charge of a newly formed mercenary band in a low fantasy realm ravaged by conflict. Your goal is to simply look after the band's interests, grow your troop in power and prestige by exploiting the realm's turmoil to your advantage. How you do this is up to you, and you will choose where to go, who to recruit, how to make money, and where to camp at night. It's a great spin on the survival genre and well worth a play on Xbox Game Pass. It wouldn't be a list of survival games without mentioning the biggest game in the genre, and to be honest, this game also has to be one of the most popular in the world. Minecraft needs absolutely no introduction, as this game was built with the sole purpose of surviving each day and night. Of course, the game has come a long way since its inception over 10 years ago, and instead of solely trying to survive each night, there's now a boatload of creative options, worlds to explore, and rare ingredients to scavenge. We have seen multiple spin-offs of Minecraft over the past few years, but none have reached the heights of this survival juggernaut. It still looks fairly basic to most who have never played Minecraft, but the amount of depth and added features these days is utterly staggering. Valheim shocked everyone when it released back in 2021 and became the biggest new game of that year. This game arrived on Xbox consoles in 2023 and is a brutal exploration and survival game where you and up to 9 other players will trek and survive a procedurally generated purgatory. There is so much to do in this game, from building, battling multiple different types of enemies, and conquering your way towards Odin's patronage. The open world itself is teeming with life and looks gorgeous on the Xbox Series consoles, and you will really lose hours in this addictive gameplay loop. This game is utterly fantastic, and words do not do this game justice, and I highly recommend it for any fan or Game Pass subscriber looking for a solid survival game. Now, this next studio got acquired by Xbox a few years back after the successful release of the zombie-infested State of Decay 2, and this game is nothing short of amazing. We are due State of Decay 3 sometime in the near future, but for now you need to try out this zombie survival game, especially with the huge updates and additional content that's now on offer. In this game, you are dropped into a large open world that has been ravaged by a deadly virus, and you will have to decide who to recruit to your team, where to settle your community, and how to fortify and upgrade your base when it's time to face the undead swarms. There are a lot of management elements, survival gameplay, and all of that is combined with some great combat. There is a single player story which is fairly good, but ultimately you'll be kept on your toes by the undead trying to attack your commune at any time. Generation Zero is one game that had a fairly mixed launch. However, a few years later, it has easily become the de facto game that most in the survival space will certainly recommend. Generation Zero is set in the familiar but hostile open world of Sweden, and your once peaceful home has now been overrun by mysterious, deadly machine enemies. You must choose your battles wisely, as you will engage in adrenaline-pumping guerrilla combat against loads of different different mechanical foes. The environmental storytelling and sense of mystery really drives this game forward, and for me personally, I was always on the edge of my seat wondering what contraption could find me and try to end my playthrough. You can expect the machines to destroy buildings and your supplies as they patrol the areas with their massive light beams and scanners. It really is an intense survival experience, and one I heavily recommend just to experience this tense atmosphere alone. One game taking the world by storm at the start of 2024 is the incredible Palworld. Many take a look at this game and think it's Pokemon with guns, and even though that is partially correct, it also has so much more depth. Think of games like Ark, Zelda, and Pokemon and combine them all together, and you easily have a one-of-a-kind experience that is probably one of the most addictive survival gameplay loops we've ever seen. To give you a very brief overview, you are dropped onto a mysterious island where the monsters, known as pals, are roaming free, and it's up to you to survive by building bases, capturing and taming pals, and taking on the villains who are using pals for no good. There is so much to unlock in this experience, with a large array of guns, skills to unlock, and pals to find, while sucking you into this addictive base building experience. I've put in 30 hours already myself since the game's launched into early access, and this could easily be one of my favourite survival games of all time. Now, looking back a couple of years ago for Xbox, it was a pretty bleak year in terms of exclusive titles. However, we got the release which surprised many, especially coming from Obsidian Entertainment. Grounded finally released with its 1.0 update, bringing with it a fantastic story, a boatload of content, and some huge gameplay changes that were much needed from its early access period. This game officially made me terrified of spiders and creepy crawlies, but playing along with my mates and seeing us get swarmed by critters was absolutely hilarious. If you love exploring and crafting with friends in a Honey I Shrunk the Kids setting, then this is the game for you. There have been so many extra updates since the initial release, and now is the best time to jump into Obsidian's smaller but jam-packed little world. Before we delve into the remaining games, please consider subscribing to the channel if you're liking the video so far. The support has been phenomenal on the channel recently, and I can't wait to bring you even more Xbox content every single day. Today we have launched channel memberships for as little as $1, which gets you early access to videos, emotes, and more. Thank you again for the continued support, and let's dive into the remaining games. One game that I cannot believe is now over 10 years old but got a console release back in 2019 is the hardcore survival game DayZ. There are absolutely no map markers, daily quests, or scoreboards to help you create your story. There is only Charnaris, which is 230 square kilometers of post-Soviet country that was infected by an unknown virus, which turned the majority of its population into raging infected. There are also up to 60 players struggling to survive by any means necessary at any given time on the same server. The world is just so expansive, and you will have to scavenge for any resource possible, but if that doesn't make it hard enough, then you're also threatened with permadeath. It is a very hardcore experience, so when jumping into this game, make sure you have friends to help or go to some smaller towns. If you want a game that is grounded in the era of sword slashing and thatched houses, then you will need to experience Medieval Dynasty. This game does go under the radar, especially on Xbox Game Pass, and it really is a shame, as this really is a unique and very well done survival RPG. You do feel like you're living as a medieval peasant, surviving and striving to create and grow an environment that will benefit you and your townsfolk. There are a lot of quite unique elements, such as building a family and securing a dynasty, building certain facilities to automate supplies and food, and a very in-depth skilled system to not only level up your character, but also allow for building upgrades. The world that this game brings to us is stunning, and there are so many picturesque moments where you will simply be in awe. Definitely a survival game I can recommend, and it doesn't get as much attention as it certainly should. No Man's Sky needs absolutely no introduction, and the work that Hello Games have done to this experience since its release is nothing short of outstanding. There are a ton of planets to explore, a massive amount of quests, and hundreds of ships to pilot, and you'll never want to put this game down, especially with the constant great updates. I only started playing the game myself within the past year, and I always come back to this world due to how expansive and awesome it can get. You can easily travel from planet to planet with absolutely no loading screens, and you will get lost with the amount of fauna and alien species that you will no doubt discover. another. The game can be an incredibly difficult survival experience if you choose to make it this way, but it is one that is certainly so rewarding. If you want an exciting online multiplayer survival game now with sorcery, then you need to set foot in the lands of Conan the Barbarian. This game is centered around a vast open world sandbox, and you can play with friends and strangers as you build your home or even a shared city. You will have to survive freezing cold temperatures, explore loot-filled dungeons, develop your character from scavenging survivor to mighty barbarian and powerful sorcerer, also fight to dominate your enemies in epic siege wars. This game has now been receiving updates and new content for over 5 years and has definitely evolved since its original release. Don't get me wrong, there are still quite a few bugs and a few odd players can try to grief newcomers, but overall this is now one of the best survival games for Xbox Game Pass subscribers. Now, we have always seen films of survivors being stuck on desert islands in the middle of the ocean, and Stranded Deep has officially made a scenario like this possible. You will take on the role of a plane crash survivor stranded somewhere in the Pacific Ocean. While stranded, you will come face to face with some of the most life-threatening scenarios that will result in a difficult experience each time you play due to its randomly generated world. It's a very cookie cutter classic survival game experience, but with a few interesting bosses thrown in. Some of the design decisions in the building and crafting are interesting, however a little more work is certainly needed in some things like combat progression and overall difficulty. However, it is a pretty decent game, and if it's the type of game you're looking for, then you can't really go wrong, especially on Xbox Game Pass. Taking another different turn in the genre is the incredibly popular Terraria. This game stands as a testament to the timeless allure of pixelated exploration and creativity. It does have a unique 2D sandbox world, which you don't come to expect with a survival game, but it offers an expansive canvas where players can mine, build and battle in a charming and dynamic environment. The game's intuitive crafting system and diverse biomes ensure a constant sense of discovery with endless possibilities. What sets Terraria apart from its competition is its multiplayer functionality, enabling friends to collaborate on ambitious building projects or face challenging bosses together. This game constantly gets expanded with new content, and due to this, Terraria has not only endured but evolved, and it's an easy recommendation for any Game Pass subscriber looking for a great survival experience. Astroneer really surprised me, especially as I decided to give it a go on a whim. Xbox Game Pass really does spoil us gamers, and coming across this gem, I can certainly recommend it to all you Game Pass subs. This game puts you in a sandbox where exploration-based survival is set in the 25th century. There is a huge focus on interplanetary exploration, but the game also boasts a base building system that allows players to construct below ground as well as above. Another feature is sculptable planetary terrain where you can create your own tunnels and caves. With multiple planets to traverse and explore and several different biomes, Astroneer offers an exciting experience lasting as long as your imagination holds out. It's certainly a worthwhile title, especially on Xbox Game Pass. What is your favourite survival game of all time? Let me know down below, as I'm interested in diving into another game myself. Like the video if you enjoyed, and subscribe for more Xbox content every single day. Whilst here, check out the video on screen now of the 20 best RPGs on Xbox Game Pass in 2024.